On the 19th of February 2013, the body of Elisa Lam was discovered in a large cistern on top of the Stay on Main Hotel, also known as the Cecil Hotel, in downtown Los Angeles, where Elisa had been staying. Elisa had been reported missing on the 1st of February. Interest in her case increased when security footage of her behaving erratically in the hotel elevator on the last day she was seen alive was released by the Los Angeles Police Department. Elisa Lam was a 21-year-old Canadian student at the University of British Columbia. In 2010, Elisa began a blog called Ether Fields, where she posted pictures of models and accounts of her life, including her mental health struggles. Just over 2 years later, Elisa abandoned Ether Fields for a new blog on Tumblr called Nouvelle Nouveau. Her new blog consisted mostly of fashion photos, quotes, and a few posts in her own words. Elisa had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression and was on several medications. According to her family, despite her issues with mental health, Elisa had no history of suicidal ideations or attempts, although Elisa did go missing for a brief period at one time. Elisa had a history of not taking her bipolar medications and, as a result, would often hallucinate. The hallucinations caused her to hide under her bed for refuge, and she was hospitalized at least once for one of these episodes. In 2013, Elisa took a trip by herself to California, where she visited the San Diego Zoo. She then traveled to Los Angeles, arriving on the 26th of January. After 2 days, Elisa checked into the Cecil Hotel, which was located near downtown LA's Skid Row. Skid Row has been known for its condensed homeless population since at least the 1930s and has a long history of police raids. The Cecil Hotel had a bad reputation with a history of suicides and overdoses. Several high-profile serial killers, such as Richard Ramirez, had also stayed at the hotel in between his murders. Other guests ranged from drug dealers to prostitutes to rapists. It was even the inspiration for American Horror Story, Hotel. Elisa was initially assigned a shared room on the 5th floor of the hotel. However, after 2 days, she was moved to her own room due to her roommates complaining about her odd behavior. According to the hotel manager at the time, Elisa was leaving her roommates notes saying "go home" and "go away." She would also lock the door to the room and require a password for entry. Just a few days before her disappearance, Elisa attended a live taping of Conan in Burbank, but had to be removed from the premises due to her disruptive behavior. Whilst on her travels, Elisa was good at keeping in communication with her family and would contact them every day up until the day she disappeared. On the 31st of January, the day she was due to check out of the Cecil Hotel, Elisa's family did not hear from her. Concerned, they contacted the Los Angeles Police Department and then flew to LA to help with the search. Hotel staff who had seen Elisa that day said she was alone. Police began to search the hotel, but were limited legally in how far they could take their search. They were unable to search every room, as at this point in time they did not have probable cause to believe a crime had been committed. Officers searched Elisa's room and dogs were sent through the building, but were unable to detect Elisa's scent. A week after Elisa's disappearance, the LAPD decided they needed more help and so released an appeal to the public. Flyers with Elisa's image were posted around the neighborhood and online, and the case was brought to the public's attention. A week after bringing the case to the public's attention, on the 13th of February, the LAPD still had no leads. They decided to release a video of the last known sighting of Elisa, taken by a surveillance camera in one of the Hotel Cecil's elevators on the 31st of January. The footage lasts for approximately 2.5 minutes, during which Elisa is seen making unusual movements and gestures. Elisa pressed all the buttons, but the elevator doors would not close. She is then seen hiding in the corner of the elevator, occasionally stepping out as if she was checking if she was being followed. At one point, it looks like she was speaking to someone. Then, a couple of minutes later, Elisa leaves the elevator and the doors finally close. The video has drawn worldwide interest due to Elisa's strange behavior, with many people analyzing and discussing it. It has been reposted widely, and on Youku, a Chinese video sharing site, it got 3 million views and 40,000 comments in the first 10 days. Several theories have emerged from the footage. One is that Elisa was trying to get the elevator to move in order to escape someone who was chasing her. Others suggested Elisa might have been under the influence of a drug such as ecstasy, although none were found in her body. When Elisa's bipolar disorder became known, it was suggested she may have been having a psychotic episode. Others argued that the video was evidence of supernatural activity. Some people believed the video had actually been tampered with before being released. Their reasons for believing so was the timestamp had been obscured, and supposedly parts of the video had been slowed down by 30 to 35%, resulting in almost a minute of footage being removed. However, there are legitimate reasons this could have been done, such as protecting the identity of someone else in the video, either related to the disappearance or not. Whilst the search was ongoing for Elisa, guests at the hotel started to complain about low water pressure, and some later claimed their water was black and had an unusual taste. On the 19th of February, the reason for the water issues was discovered. Santiago Lopez, a maintenance worker at the hotel, found Elisa's body laying face up in one of the 4 1,000-gallon tanks on the roof of the hotel, which provided water to guest rooms, a kitchen, and a coffee shop. The tank had to be drained and cut open in order to accommodate the equipment needed to retrieve Elisa's body. Elisa's body was found naked, and clothing similar to what she had been wearing in the elevator video was found floating in the tank, coated in a sand-like particulate. Elisa's watch and room key were also found with her body. The coroner's office issued a finding of accidental drowning with bipolar disorder as a significant factor. Elisa's body was moderately decomposed and bloated. There was no evidence of physical or sexual assault. The toxicology test results showed traces consistent with the prescription medication found among Elisa's belongings, as well as some non-prescription drugs such as ibuprofen. A very small quantity of alcohol was detected, but no recreational drugs. Although it was noted that the concentration of prescription drugs in Elisa's system indicated she was either under-medicating or had stopped taking her medications recently. Investigators found no evidence to support foul play or violence. There was no ladder inside the tank Elisa was in, meaning she couldn't have closed the latch herself after jumping in, which raised some suspicion. However, investigators found that no one could have carried Elisa up to the water tank without extensively bruising her body, and there were no signs of bruising on Elisa's body. Whilst the investigation determined how Elisa had died, a lot was left unexplained. It is unknown how Elisa got into the tank in the first place. The doors and stairs up to the roof are locked. Only staff have the passcodes and keys. Any attempt to force the door would have triggered an alarm. Although the fire escape could have allowed Elisa to bypass the security measures, her scent trail was lost by the dogs near a window connected to it. It was also questioned as to whether Elisa could have gotten into the tank by herself. All 4 tanks were 4 by 8 foot cylinders propped up on concrete blocks. There was no fixed access to them, and maintenance workers had to use a ladder to look inside. Police dogs had also searched the roof shortly after her disappearance, but found no trace of Elisa. The coroner's findings were also questioned based on incomplete information. For example, the autopsy report does not say what the results of the rape kit and fingernail kit were, or if they were even processed. The report also records subcutaneous pooling of blood in Elisa's anal area, which some members of the public have theorized indicates a sign of sexual assault. However, a pathologist noted that the pooling of blood may have been a result of Elisa's body bloating during decomposition. Internet sleuths were heavily invested in the case, and some found a connection between Elisa's case and a film called Dark Water. In the film, a girl was wearing a red jacket, just like Elisa's, and there was a scene where discolored water comes pouring out of a faucet. The girl in the film dies by falling into a water tank. Another strange coincidence was that just days after Elisa's death, there was an outbreak of tuberculosis. The test to detect the disease was called Lam Elisa. What do you think about these coincidences? Let me know in the comments below. To this day, the circumstances leading to Elisa's death are not completely known. However, investigators believe they have figured it out. Investigators believe that, due to the elevator video and Elisa's odd behavior in the days before her death, Elisa was experiencing a psychotic break. Elisa's sister confirmed Elisa had patterns of previous episodes where she was afraid someone was after her. It is thought that Elisa maybe saw the water tank as a place to hide, but once inside, realized the hatch was the only way out. Elisa perhaps undressed herself to lighten the load and make it easier to tread water to stay alive, which led to hypothermia as well. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below.